Good evening, you're watching Mission 2024. I'm Preeti, Choudhry. We're going to get you all the action coming in from the Parliament. The Delhi Services Bill up for discussion in Rajya Sabha. Counting down to it, Amit Shah to speak in a short while from now. Let me first take you through the headlines. Delhi Services Bill showdown rages in Parliament. Aam Aadmi Party hits back at Home Minister, alleges bill given control to Delhi to centre. All eyes on Amit Shah, set to speak in Rajya Sabha shortly. Rahul's Lok Sabha membership restored after Lok Sabha Secretariat issues notice. Grand welcome by India Alliance MPs for Rahul in Parliament. BJP alleges China link to Congress in Parliament. BJP rakes up alleged Chinese funding for Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. After New York Times exposes China propaganda funding, NewsClick responds, calls allegations false and misleading.
Congress, China, NewsClick are part of a umbilical cord. राहुल जी की नकली मोहब्बत की दुकान में चीनी सामान ये साफ नजर आने लगा है.
Explosive revelation on pre-planned new riots. Chilling WhatsApp chats exposes conspiracy. Communal poison spewed to mobilize mobs. Sinister attack on Shobha Yatra orchestrated. Day 5 of ASI survey at Gyanwapi complex concludes Hindu side claim. Remnants of idols found. ASI to submit report in 4 weeks' time. Furious BSP MP, BJP MLC verbal spat on stage. Danish Ali stops BJP MLC's Bharat Mata chant on stage. BJP Neta Vijay Varghya threatens, says can kill anti-Bharat brigade. Siddaramaiah government under the lens yet again. Karnataka governor raises corruption charges against agriculture minister. So who will win the Rajya Sabha Delhi dangle, where the Delhi Services Bill is being discussed? The latest coming in, massive uproar, sloganeering, pandemonium in Rajya Sabha. Home Minister Amit Shah to speak shortly. The big fight for control in Delhi. Will bill pass the Rajya Sabha test? In all probability, yes. Why is that? Well, the Aam Aadmi Party earlier was hoping that with the help of the India Alliance MPs in Rajya Sabha, it would reach the halfway mark. However, with the YSRCP and the BJD staying with the government, voting with the NDA on this bill, it seems that the Delhi Services Bill will sail through the Rajya Sabha as well. On Friday, it was tabled in Lok Sabha, passed without a hitch with the brute majority of the Bharatiya Janata Party itself as well as the NDA alliance in Lok Sabha. In Rajya Sabha, the fate practically the same, but what has transpired has been a heated debate on the floor of the House where the MPs from the India alliance coming out, speaking up for statehood for Delhi, calling it trying to control a democratic elected government where the federal democracy comes into question. Let's listen in to all the reactions coming in.
This bill is completely unconstitutional. It is fundamentally anti-democratic. It is a frontal assault on the regional voice and aspirations of the people of Delhi. It violates all principles of federalism, all norms of civil service accountability, all models of assembly-based democracy.
गुजरात में कांग्रेस का वोट हाफ कर दिया, पंजाब में इनका स्विच ऑफ कर दिया, दिल्ली में साफ कर दिया और आपने इनको माफ कर दिया। और उसके माफी के बाद भी मुझे लगता है अभिषेक मनु सिंघवी जी ने कहा था, तो मैं भी ये कहना चाहता हूं, आप साथ में आए हैं दिल्ली के इस बिल पे, दिल्ली की जनता के लिए आए हैं या किसी और कारण से आए हैं, ये दिल्ली की समझदार जनता समझती है। तो मैं भी एक पंक्ति कहना चाहूंगा कि शाम तक सुबह की नजरों से उतर जाते हैं, इतने समझौतों पे जीते हैं कि जमीर भी मर जाते हैं।
सर, मैं अपने वक्तव्य को तीन भाग में बांटता हूं। पहला कि ये बिल कैसे एक राजनीतिक धोखा है, पॉलिटिकल फ्रॉड है। दूसरा, ये कैसे एक संवैधानिक पाप है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सिन है। और तीसरा कि ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लॉकजैम। संविधान ये कहता है, और वाईवी चंद्रचूड़ साहब का AK रॉय वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया एक बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण लैंडमार्क जजमेंट है, जिसने कहा कि ऑर्डिनेंसेस सिर्फ आपातकालीन और विषम परिस्थितियों में लाए जाएंगे। ऐसी कौन सी आपातकालीन और विषम परिस्थितियां आ गई कि आपको सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले को 8 दिन के भीतर बदलना पड़ गया? इफ दिस बिल इज पास, द आम आदमी पार्टी, that is the official name, I have no hesitation to say that it is absolutely anarchy party. AAP. Tanashahi party. That is what they are doing now. Tanashahi party. Anarchy party.
So BJP is in favor of this bill because it supports the constitutional standpoint of this bill and the Parliament's power. To enact legislations and the Parliament's legislative competence to such matters.
What I do not understand is the half-hearted support extended by two of my learned friends representing the BJD and the YRCP. They know that this is unconstitutional. I think the Law Ministry knows it is unconstitutional.
But the respective parties who are chiefly concerned with this change are Congress and the BJP. Is that the Congress, who never had any problem with this issue about control of services, has now, like a batsman who has lost form and hasn't scored a half century for 10 years, is now seeking an alliance so that it can inch towards its first 50. The AAP is like a cricket team whose captain has been caught ball tampering. A vigilance report exists, and suddenly they want to become vigilant about the vigilance report. The BJP's present government is the third umpire. We want to stop this nefarious practice. A convention, a wholesome convention for better administration and for effective administration of the Union Territory of Delhi by the Union government now needs to be made into law, lest people subvert the services and hide their corruption. I wholeheartedly and with all the vigor at my command support this. Thank you, Chairman.
The state legislature makes laws for the states, the parliament makes laws for the union territories. For the National Capital Region of Delhi, which has a special status, the state legislature or the legislature of Delhi makes the laws on the state subjects, except 3. But as Mr. Jethmalani read out, by virtue of 239 3B, Parliament has a power to frame laws beyond these 3. And that is exactly what the bill is seeking to do.
All right, let's cut across right now to Rahul Srivastav, our national affairs editor, breaking it down in terms of numbers. Rahul, interesting because it was very smooth sailing in Lok Sabha. The bill was passed by a voice vote last Friday. But this time around, the Aam Aadmi Party had hoped to get the numbers. The Rajya Sabha, 245 seats in the Rajya Sabha, 8 are currently vacant. That means the total strength, 237. The halfway mark, 119. And correct me if I'm wrong, the BJP right now stands at 109, but 9 each of the BJD and the YSRCP will make the BJP and the NDA alliance sail home in Rajya Sabha as well.
Preeti, the numbers are definitely tight for the government as far as the Rajya Sabha is concerned. And it's been a feature, I think, for the last 20 odd years now that though the government may be in power and has the numbers in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha numbers have been very dicey always. But the BJP has become a virtual tradition in the Rajya Sabha and even the Lok Sabha to a certain extent. If we look at the coming no confidence motion in Parliament, you already have the YSRCP and the BJD saying that their collective strength of 34 MPs will be supporting the government. and that's likely to be the future. Now, what has been happening is that there have been a lot of back-channel talks between the government. The government is not taking it easy. I'm told that interlocutors are in conversation constantly with the BJD and the YSRCP to ensure that every MP is there. Every member needs to be there, and that is how the numbers can be made up. Now, the real problem for the opposition is that to pose any sense of challenge, the opposition has to ensure that its MLAs are there. If they have to portray that a collective strength of the India coalition is in full force there. And what I am told that conversations will go on till late in the night, as long as the vote doesn't take place, because nobody wants a setback on this, and especially this bill, because it's not just a bill being passed, it is a Supreme Court order being overturned with a bill kind of situation for the government. And the government last time around, if you recall, in 2014, had a setback on the National Judicial Appointment Commission. That was a setback that the government doesn't want, that once the Supreme Court has overturned one of the situations, then the government doesn't want a setback.
Well, it would be interesting. We are going to expect Amit Shah to speak in a short while from now. But Rahul, to break it down in terms of the support, the Aam Aadmi Party would have hoped that the likes of BJD, though not coming in and voting in favor of the Aam Aadmi Party, would have staged a walkout, which would have meant favor Aam Aadmi Party. But that's not to happen, because one thing is very clear, that whoever is working the back channel talks, they've convinced the BJD and the YSRCP with their 9 MPs each to be in the House and vote in favor.
Yes, Preeti. Arvind Kejriwal would have hoped that there would have been an opposition sense of unity. But I think the opposition lines is now looking like very clear. That's so much so that if you see the meeting in Bangalore, which took place with 26 political parties, where no invites were sent to the BJD or the YSRCP, and in that scenario, that floating group, say 63 odd in the Lok Sabha, and a similar group in the Rajya Sabha, that group will align with the government. Remember, these are political parties which are rather more in rivalry to the Congress than the BJP, and they do not want a revival of the Congress party in their respective states. And the centre has very tacitly and carefully assisting these governments. Say, for example, the cases against YSRCP leaders, not much is happening. As far as the aid to the Polavaram project is concerned, aid has been going, 12,000 crore has gone. Also significantly, as far as bank loans and other guarantees are concerned, to the YSRCP government, they have been flowing in. So what one can say is that the government has been keeping some of its non-allies very happy, so that the number game remains on its side as far as the Rajya Sabha is concerned. Though, if anybody looks at the bill, the kind of sweeping power it gives the central government via the LG is very clear that this is undermining the powers of a chief minister. It's virtually a lame duck government if you have all the bureaucrats appointed by the center looking towards the LG and eventually delivering what the LG and the central government want. There is a situation in which a chief minister is looking at a majority decision in which 2 of the people are appointed by the center. So it's a very unfair situation right now.
All right, Rahul, stay with me. What we're going to do is we're going to break it down. What does this Delhi Services Bill actually mean, and what would be the key changes that one would witness in terms of administration-wise where Delhi comes into question? Now, what's been dropped? Section 3A removed, preventing the Delhi Assembly from making laws. This is huge. The other annual report. Next, NCCSA doesn't need to present annual report. The changes in appointment process dilutes provision of appointment of members of statutory bodies. What's new? Powers of appointment. LG now to make appointments in boards formed by Delhi government. That practically takes away every political administrative power where the Delhi government comes into question. And Rahul, I want to bring you in on this, because somewhere down the line, if one has to, in very layman simple terms, explain on what this really bill means, is that we, by the virtue of this bill becoming a law, will make sure that the administration or bureaucracy presides over elected members, where the chief minister or his band of ministers are concerned?
See, Preeti, delivering its order, the Supreme Court had said something very interesting. The order talked about three filters to a system of accountability. The bureaucrats or the civil servants being accountable to the elected government, the elected government to the legislature, and the legislature being accountable to the public. Now, this three-filter system has been altered, primarily because if you look at it, the bureaucracy will now be accountable not to the elected government of Delhi, but to the LG and center. Now, the LG is an appointee, not an elected authority. So what it does, now it leads to a formation, this bill will lead to a formation of a National Civil Services Service Authority, which will be recommending to the Lieutenant Governor. What it will be recommending, if there is any rule which is under the central rules, then the president becomes the appointing authority. If it is any law under the Delhi government, then the LG has a place. So in both the places, the center had a role. Now, if the national, that authority which is going to be created has a chief minister, a chief secretary, and the home secretary and the chief secretary are appointees of the center. They can, in a majority decision, override a chief minister. Then the LG decision can prevail over the authority in case there are differences. Now, imagine if there is an appellate authority which is taking decisions, the LG has powers even over that. Then the term LG's discretion has been changed to LG's sole discretion, means LG has become a sole discretionary authorities under this new law. As far as peace and tranquility, state government powers and others is concerned, matters related to center, Supreme Court, High Court or state, LG is now the final say. The department secretaries can actually go directly to the LG, chief minister or chief secretary, bypassing their ministers. So the ministers have been undermined. If the Delhi government has no control over civil spirit, then how do you imagine a government can be functioning?
Well, stay with me, Rahul. Let's listen into other political reactions, especially on the floor of the Rajya Sabha. We're going to come right back.
This particular insertion in 1991 and 239, what does it seek to do? It acknowledges the sui generis character of Delhi. The honorable member mentioned there was a reality. It is a union territory, yet it has a legislature, elected government. So he used the term escalated union territory. But that sui generis character needs to be acknowledged, it needs to be fleshed out, and that is precisely what the bill that the government has brought is seeking to do. Now, the civil service authority which is being established, I found it appalling that someone can get up here and say one member is the supreme. Yes, he's an elected chief minister. He deserves full respect. He deserves to have his position as primus inter pares in this three-member committee acknowledged and respected. But to say that the other two are against the whole system, or they have been appointed and their integrity is in doubt, is an outlandish statement, if I may submit.
Neither Article 239A, 3A, nor Articles 141 and 144 can be negated without a constitutional amendment. I repeat, without a constitutional amendment, this cannot be done. And if at all the government brings, subsequently will have to bring, if they wish, because this legislation will be declared null and void. As a student of law, I understand. It will be done.
All right, we're going to keep a keen eye on all developments in Rajya Sabha. Any minute now, Amit Shah would be speaking, the Home Minister concluding, and then it would be up to vote where the Rajya Sabha is concerned.